Well, Hani Mahmoud is in Rafah in southern Gaza for us. And Hani, we'll get to the growing issue of famine there in a moment. But first, can you just tell us about Israel's focus on Rafah right now?
Yes, well, overnight, and in fact, it started at early hours of last night, in the evening hours, with the heavy artillery shelling of the eastern part of Rafah city, and finishing at about midnight with massive airstrikes on both different locations in eastern Rafah and in the central part of Rafah city. Very crowded and densely populated two areas. The one in eastern Rafah, a residential home full of displaced Palestinians, including the owner, the local residents, and the owner of the residential building, who has been helping sheltering people who've been displaced from the northern part in Gaza City and from Khan Younis. 13 people have been killed and tens of other injuries, different injuries, were reported to Najjar Hospital in central Rafah. The other airstrikes targeted a residential home in al-Janina district. That's a central part of Rafah city, and this is not the first time. al-Janina have been, in fact, since the beginning of the war, been repeatedly targeted. More residential homes inside this district have been destroyed compared to in Deir al-Balah. More people have been killed in heavy artillery and more airstrike. We're looking at a total of 15 people, but the fact that we're seeing an intense bombing campaign across Rafah city is just an indication, and very consistent with the Israeli Defense Minister's statement of expansion the military operations into Rafah city.
Yeah, and Hani, as we heard, the UN's described Rafah as a pressure cooker of despair. But can you just try and tell us what that actually looks and feels like as you are on the ground there?
Yes, well, not only we're looking at an overcrowded area right now, but largely here, the 1.9 million displaced Palestinians are going hungry here in this part of the Gaza Strip. People, entire families that just go by their day without eating any food for days, no meals whatsoever. We have children roaming the streets that are filled with rubble, just searching for scraps of food. We have the problem of people who are experiencing health complications, unable to get the necessary portion of food that it's needed to sustain their health and to help them combat these difficult conditions. Among all of this, there's the vulnerable group of children and women, and those are pregnant or breastfeeding. They lack the resources and nutritional elements that are needed to keep them sustaining. In fact, according to the UN report on the internationally recognized 5-phase scale of food crisis, we're looking here at a quarter of the people in Gaza. That's almost 500,000 people are at phase number 5, which is a catastrophic level. We're looking at mass starvation, and it's just very unfortunate to say that this is how food is being weaponized and used against civilian population.
Hani, as always, we really do appreciate your work for us, Hani Mahmoud, for us in Rafah in southern Gaza.